Hello and welcome to episode 137 of the Boot Nerds podcast. Good to be back. J-Mike, how's it going?
It is indeed good to be back, my friend. As always, things are good in Denmark. Weather's nice. It's sunny. We like that. I'm not going to be completely pale anymore. So that's good. On the other hand, having, thinning hair like I do also means that the top of my head gets roasted a lot. So it is what it is. Man United are still crap and we're still losing a lot. So what else is new? I mean, business as usual.
Great times.
How's Canada? Let me guess, not too bad.
Well, I was just telling you how in a 10-day span we went from snow to shorts and t-shirt weather, getting to sunburn, back to snow. So it's great. But it looks like it's going to be another warm day today. So we'll see what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, probably some snow. I wanted to say classic Canada, but that's like even for Canada, that's wild, right?
No, it's weird. I can't remember ever going up and down like this in temperature quickly before. But who knows?
Who knows? It's maybe we just got to get used to it. But hey, today we've got a little bit of it's more of a loose episode because we don't really have that big thing that we're talking about. But since it's been a little bit of a while since we last caught up, stuff has been happening. Boots have been tried and tested, and opinions have been formed. So I guess we're just going to talk about that today. Now, of course, I'll remember that if you have any questions, which we're also going to answer in this episode, by the way, leave them in the comment section right down below, and we'll get back to the best ones in the next couple of episodes. But of course, also, if you're enjoying the video, I mean, we would really appreciate if you leave a like and maybe go and subscribe to the channel as well. With that out of the way, Josh, we've been texting over the week because you've been finally trying some boots, the Yaesu Moltres.
Yeah, it took forever to actually get a pair. It's funny, I got a pair not in my size. I was able to secure a 9 relatively quickly, but they were just way too small. But I finally got them in a 9.5, and I gotta be honest, when I first held them in my hands, I was like, wow, I don't like the feel of this upper at all. Okay. Like it struck me as like rigid and plasticky and just kind of backwards for where we've been going.
A little plasticky, right?
Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
But I was just disappointed with how weird it felt. And like technically it's really impressive. It actually reminds me a lot of Adidas X Ghosted. In that if you look inside, the way that they've done the lining and stuff like that, it's very technical in terms of how it's put together. Very cool.
It is.
It ends up feeling a lot better on feet. A little bit rigid for the first 10, 20 minutes or so. But I think once it's broken in, it's kind of a cool middle ground between what Teijin Synthetic used to be on the Vapor series and kind of the knitted textile direction that the Mercurials have gone in. Mm-hmm. I like the rawness, and I also kind of really appreciate the regular tongue and central lacing system and kind of traditional low-cut construction. I like that. It felt familiar and a little bit refreshing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's funny in these times that, having an actual U-throat and, this classic tongue construction is going to be refreshing. I mean, it just shows you where the trend has been going, right? I agree on the whole upper thing. I think it's an interesting observation. The closest thing now that I've worn it a few times, again, as you can see, it's getting dirty now. Wear your boots and all that. I more like felt it as how I imagine the current Vapor Posit upper would feel if you took like some sandpaper and just brushed it down. So it's a little bit more rough and gritty. If you know what I mean.
And I agree. I like the texture on the surface of it. I think the little bit of extra grip you get from that is impressive. I don't know, to me, especially with the return of the Flywire cables, this is the type of upper that I feel like Nike was trying to achieve with like Superflies 1 through 3.
Yeah. They failed miserably, but I know what you mean. And that is, if you could take this upper and go back like that many years, 10, 12 years, right? We would actually be talking about a very, very special boot. Well, they didn't, so I guess that's a shame. But really, you're right. It's nice to see what Flywire can also be.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny to me, like they didn't. Maybe there's more inside information that I'm unaware of, but on Nike's own website, they don't specify fly print. They say 3D printed textile, which is basically fly print in my eyes. I'm not sure why they wouldn't just straight up call it that or what the difference would actually be. But if this is the future of the mercurial vapor and or superfly, I think this is a good direction for them to go in. I'm pretty happy with it.
No, I agree. To me, this doesn't feel as much of as a mercurial as I would like it to, which is also why, of course, there will be the speculation around, will they use it and in which case on which silo? And the reason I say that is the overall shape of the boot, which is also one of the things that's been not bugging me, but, just preventing me from wanting to wear this over a regular mercurial, for instance, which I really like. And I just feel like it's a little bit too sneaker-like, or too casual, too wide, and I don't want to call it clumsy, but do you know where I'm going with it? It's like a little bit more. It's certainly more rounded through the forefoot and toe box than Mercs historically have been. And there's definitely more midfoot volume than Mercs have had. And the shape of the heel
I think they fit well.
They do.
I mean, they worked. I think they fit well. But yeah, it's not that classic super slim mercurial feel necessarily.
Nah. And for me, it just feels like one of those, mock-up football boots we've seen where you've taken the upper of a sneaker and just slapped on a tooling. It feels good, I agree, but I just have a little bit of a hard time coming to terms with the shape of the boot overall. But maybe that's just me. Me.
The upper is probably the least important aspect of this football boot, though, because I think the tech in the sole plate is really the focus here. At least that's what got all the marketing attention from Nike, and I think rightfully so. The amount of, I don't want to call them arguments, but the amount of small disputes that I've had in the comment section on various social media platforms in regards to whether or not this is in fact new technology from Nike. It's interesting because yes, Nike have used Air Zoom tech in quite a number of football boots over the years, going all the way back to 2000, I think. Match Mercurial is probably the first one. Mm-hmm. Right? So 22 years of Air Zoom tech in football boots, if you want to go back in history. This is a very different implementation than anything we've ever seen before. I want to be very clear in that. And I think now that I've tried them, it's an extremely difficult thing to actually describe to people. It really is one of those things that you kind of have to feel for yourself to truly understand it. I don't think it's as responsive or provides the energy return that Nike really promised in all of their marketing material. That if that's your expectation of this technology, you're going to be disappointed.
Yes. And that was the thing I experienced, and I'll let you finish in a second. But I was just, I was not expecting to be getting that responsiveness because I've learned to be skeptical whenever they make such claims, right? But if people are expecting that, I would say what it gives you instead was for me equally as good. That sensation was a surprise, and I think we've talked about it before, and it can only be described as unique. It's intriguing, it's unique, it's comfortable in a way that I've never felt in any other football boot before, and that in itself is a big compliment. Because it works, it feels nice.
Yeah, I think the performance gains aspect that Nike is preaching is unrealistic. I don't think there's any energy return that's going to benefit your ability to run. I don't think it's going to help you conserve any energy. I don't buy that there's performance benefit from having this Zoom bag running from heel to toe. What I do buy and what I definitely feel is the comfort aspect. And I've had so many people mention that they don't need extra cushion if they're already playing on grass that's built into the playing surface. And I agree with that. That's true. That is the nature of football boots. It's why you only have a thin foam insole in 99% of them.
Yeah.
However, I think what they've done here is they've given you this, I don't want to call it cushion because I think that's the wrong way to describe it because it doesn't feel mushy in any way at all.
No.
I almost want to describe it as impact protection and kind of a comfort element that, like you said, doesn't really feel like anything else that I've ever tried before. It's noticeably different from anything you can get. And I think it's a really positive experience that if this is not my cup of tea in terms of style of football boot, but if they put this in something with a leather upper, I have a hard time not wanting to wear that over anything else.
So basically, you want the Air Tiempo to come back.
I do. I really want the Air Tiempo to come back.
It would be truly good. I agree. And, I think impact protection is a good way of describing it. I mean, personally, I felt a little bit of stud pressure on I think, from this stud, which was annoying and definitely not what I expected. But, and responsive is not the right word to use, but I somehow felt a different connection to the boot that I'm used to in this very comfortable, it's reacting and taking care of my foot in a different way. So I guess impact protection, that's a
I like it.
And
I don't know. I tried it on two different types of playing surfaces.
Yeah,
one that was relatively kind of hard, firmish, and then really, really soft.
Okay.
Because I was curious on firm. I kind of knew you're going to feel it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just because you need on a firmer surface, you're going to need to rely more on the insole or whatever cushion is underneath your feet. Otherwise, you're running on a hard plastic sole plate.
Obviously, yeah.
But on a really soft surface, I was curious as to whether or not it would feel too mushy or something like that. And it really doesn't.
No.
If anything, I liked the feel of it more on a softer surface than I did on a firmer surface.
Yeah.
And I think that really goes to show that there's a level of refinement to this technology that I wasn't necessarily expecting. And as much credit as I'm giving Nike here, we also have to realize that they didn't even necessarily develop it specifically for the football boot. They pulled it out of a basketball shoe that came out several years ago and they threw it in a football boot.
Do you have the KD12?
I do have a pair.
So
I had a pair when they first came out.
Okay.
Which again, really liked. Tried on, kind of went to the store not really knowing what I wanted, which I rarely ever get to do. Tried on a whole bunch of basketball shoes, and that one noticeably stood out because of the Zoom Tech underneath my foot. So when I heard that's what they were putting in a football boot, really, really excited. And I think from a construction standpoint, this is really impressive in that it's two pieces of material. There's less to fail as far as construction is concerned. And I've heard a lot of comments as well suggesting that they want to feel more connected to the ground, and how is a bag of air underneath your feet going to allow for that? There are less layers and less material between your foot and the ground with this construction than I would argue any other football boot that's out there right now.
And also because, and we could probably get some really insightful people onto this with pros and cons. And I guess there would be, both, right? But I guess that since the bag and the air inside the bag is so compressed, we also reach a point where the response you get back, because it is so compressed when you squeeze it, will be somewhat of a responsive sensation. So, I mean, I think, and this is the question I've wanted to ask you ever since you got a pair for the first time. For you, has this lived up to the expectation and the hype that you and everyone else had built around it? Is it a special? Is it a milestone for Nike? Is it something you'll remember fondly in 5-10 years and think, oh, they were actually onto something here?
I think this is something that if they keep it exclusive to a top end Mercurial, it's almost not going to matter. I think people that are going to buy Mercurials are going to buy them no matter what. If this is a technology that they roll into a Tiempo and perhaps a Phantom GT or whatever's next for the third silo, if this is something that becomes a trend across the entire brand, one, I don't see very many people having a problem with that. So I don't think they would lose consumers based on adding this tech to all of their silos. And I think it becomes kind of a signature draw of the Nike brand in that, okay, it's 4.5 millimeters in here. Maybe they make something a little bit thicker or a little bit softer in a Tiempo or something that. I think from a comfort and feel perspective, there is absolutely no other brand that's going to be able to match what they have here. Because Air Zoom is such a proprietary technology for them.
That's the thing. I mean, even if they do, it's people are clearly just gonna accuse them of copying Nike, and that's not what they want, right? For me, this is not a Magista Obra moment, but I definitely feel that they are onto something. And as you say, with the right refinement and the right rollout strategy, we could see something that could feature in Nike boots for many, many years. We've been talking about how the Superfly should be something truly special and not just a Vapor 14 or 15, whatever it's going to be next, DF. Would this be like a super flyable, if you can say it like that, technology? Something that you could basically take a Vapor, add the sock if you want, and then throw that in and make it like this unique thing, this little extra something, if you know what I mean.
And I 100% agree in that. My thought after half an hour in these boots is that this is the most Superfly since what, Superfly 4?
Yeah.
I guess Superfly 5, you got to give it credit. It was its own thing.
Yeah.
But Superfly 4 had that wow factor. I feel like this has that, wow, it's completely different in every single way compared to other Mercurials.
That would make the Superfly super, that extra again. And I
agree.
I'm also just I understand where you're going with Nike rolling it out to more boots than just one silo, whether it'll be the Phantom or the Mercurial or the Tempo or whatever will come, right? But I also don't want to see that it just overtaking everything. For me personally, I like that. Old school tooling. I still prefer that, and there will be a lot of people who probably will also prefer that. So having like distinguishing between the Vapor and the Superfly could be a way to do it in the future.
Yeah. I also really wonder, as much as I like the idea of having the full length Zoom bag, and obviously if we look at past implementations of Zoom Air, it was more targeted. But I almost feel like if they targeted it into the forefoot, like the ball of your foot, if it would make it more special.
Yeah, like they've done on the Alpha Flies and the Next Percents, the running shoes, right?
Like they've made headlines with the Zoom units in their running shoes, and this is never going to be anything like that just due to thickness alone. But I think it could be really cool if they target it a little more, and even if that's the direction that they go in with implementation into other silos. My concern for this technology, but also I'm not concerned because Nike is a marketing machine, is that it's always difficult to bring attention to technologies that you cannot see. And it's the reason why, I'm sure you've had people ask this over the years, why don't football boot brands pay more attention or put more effort into the insoles? Because they tend to be the least special, least technical element of these very expensive football boots.
Very underwhelming.
And you're standing on top of it. Most people don't see it. Most people never pull it out to take a closer look at it. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, exactly. At least it's only something you care about after you've bought the boot.
Yeah. It's not something that's going to draw people into a product. And we saw this with Adidas trying to implement Boost in the Ace 17. And it was a poor implementation. It was such a small amount that it really didn't feel like anything like anything different from a normal insole.
It was a gimmick. It was a gimmick,
right? Yeah. And because you couldn't really see it, nobody really cared.
Yeah. You're right. Which is probably also why they've made they're playing on the fact that you can see it, but they should probably make it even more visible in the future. But hey, I like it, but I'm not blown away by the Ultra. But I think it's I think it will be seen as important in 5-10 years. But not like a massive Magista tentpole moment. I don't think we're there yet.
No, but I definitely see this as this is a really good look at what Nike has planned for the future. I think we're going to see a lot more of the Zoom tech.
Yeah. And it's nice to see something new for once. I mean, finally we're getting something that's not just a refined, layered synthetic or, a new way of knitting. This is something truly unique. We haven't seen it from any of the other brands. It's been a while since we've seen it in football boots in general. It's a new way of doing things. And that's the direction I like. That's the sort of, innovation that gets me hyped.
So my only concern, and we've seen Nike do this in the past, and I just recently made a TikTok of all things kind of talking about how the 2010 F50 Adizero derailed Nike's pushing of carbon fiber tech, and along with carbon fiber tech, ridiculous retail prices. The Elite Series, cool as it was, between $300 and $400 for a single pair of football boots, all the way back in 2010, might I add, is ridiculous. And the F50 Adizero showed at $200, literally half the price of the Superfly at the time, that you could have something significantly lighter, significantly more comfortable, and arguably just better overall, despite it not being as flashy or cool looking. Sure. And my concern with this technology, this is a football boot. Granted, 1,000 pairs, super limited, but a $350 retail is steep. Yeah. And I'm worried, given the fact that this is not a technology that other brands are really realistically going to be able to copy. Is this going to be a green light for Nike to say like, hey, this is really cool. We know it's really good. We know you want it, but you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, I could easily be afraid that, if it works for them, that in 2-3 years time, we'll see a Superfly at €300, which is just...
And that's the problem. And if that becomes successful, it also kind of green lights Adidas.
Yeah, exactly.
To go back there, they had pricing.
They had them at €300 at some point, right? I remember the Nemesis 17 pluses, I think. Was it the 18 pluses that were, and the Aces at the time? I don't remember if Preds were ever there, but it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous, right? Now, there was, speaking of prices, that's a fantastic segue into the next boot. I hope you don't have more to say on the on the Ultras, because we have this. And I can see that it's absolutely burning on my camera, but it's the white Triora New Balance 442 2.0. Which I was actually not going to pay that much attention to. Obviously the gold colorway you have in your hand is nice, but I just never really loved the first generation. And I thought it was a little bit of a meh boot. But then you texted me and you were like, have you tried it? I think it's really good. And I was like, no, I haven't bothered yet, to be honest. And now I have. And now I did bother, and I took your really glowing recommendation, and I went out and tried them, and I really like them. It's a great pair of football boots. This, I mean, it's what 100 and how much is it in euros?
130 US is retail. I think it's 130 euro as well. Could be wrong though.
Could be. Why can I not find that? 140 euros, but I mean that's still a great price for a boot like this. I mean, such a simple product when you look at it, but very, very effective, really well fitting, light. The pots in the heel was my first response to you. I was a little bit nervous about them, that they were too hot and didn't fit well, but hasn't been a problem. This leather forefoot is phenomenally soft, and just decent tooling is there. It works. I don't hate it. And what it does for that 140 euros is just, it's great. And I think for me, this has put it right up there among the best value for money boots that we have on the market right now. It's
easily. But I think it's one of the best leather boots on, like, if you're making a top 5 leather football boots available right now, I think it cracks that top 5 easily.
Yeah, it must. Easily. I mean, we have the 2 Mizunos. All 3, are they getting in? Would arguably get in, right?
Sure, but then again, Jay, you have to consider that all 3 of those Mizunos cost twice as much.
But that's the thing.
That's the thing.
But if we're just looking at quality, all 3 Mizunos get in, right? The Puma Kings, they don't get in.
They don't get in.
What else do we have? The Copas. I mean,
neither of them get in.
The pluses, okay, I could kind of live with it, but I'd rather have these. What else do we have?
Tiempos.
The Tiempos, of course, they have to be on the list. And then there would be the Diadora Brazil Elites, which are nice, but I would probably rather have these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an overall package for what it costs, my goodness, I think... I said it in my review. I think this is the best football boot New Balance has made.
Oh, you like it more than the Furons?
You can say the Furon is just as good, but my goodness, these cost almost half as much.
But that's true. I mean, in terms of value for money, they're probably the best they've ever made.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And they're almost the same weight as a Furon.
It's true.
They're lighter than a Vapor 14 Elite,
which is ridiculous.
It doesn't even make sense.
And the fit is really good. My only, abadabai, my only but with this is the lockdown in them. I'm glad I wore grip socks because otherwise I felt that, I definitely should have gone runner's lube on them just to secure my heel and fixate it a little bit better to get but I'm a lockdown guy. I want my lockdown, right? But as like if we're looking at comfort, if we're looking at, this completely seamless, break-in period, just plug and play, it's surprisingly good. I'll admit it. And, if you can carry that gold colorway, man, you're onto a winner. That is a sick colorway, man.
Yeah, the gold looks really
Gives me
good.
Totti
And
vibes.
I'll say this: I just got the black ones in
The black
right
and
before
reds.
we started recording this, and they don't, for whatever reason, they don't strike me as being as premium as the gold ones are.
No.
I'm not sure if the white ones are the same.
The white ones feel a little bit better than the black ones for whatever reason.
Something about the black ones just
Just because
appear
they're
slightly
black.
cheaper.
They're black.
It could just be the color.
Yeah, I think. But the gold ones are absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Like this is a cool it sounds bad being somebody that reviews football boots, but there really hasn't been a New Balance football boot that I've been like, oh yeah, I'd wear those. Like
Furons?
'cause I get the
Furons.
it's just I like the Furons a lot. It's
Yeah.
not my cup of tea. It's not my style of football
Fair
boot, but this
enough,
is a product like I'd be happy to wear these the rest of the year.
I'm
and that's
even
it.
surprised because you like it stiff and chunky. In which case, you could go for the leather. I'm just kidding.
Kayla. I just
It's not.
I
It's
don't
not
know.
as the pluses. The 3 pluses are actually not as bad as the 3s were.
No, they definitely improved that one a little
Yeah,
bit.
but I like the Furons. I think, when you look at it overall, their lineup is solid now. And with the 442s and the Furons, Furons is a great alternative to the Speed Flows and the Vapors and the Ultras. I mean, I wouldn't blink twice wearing a Furon to a match. I mean, I have done lately. The great boots, and now with the 442s as well, especially with that competitive price point. I mean, that is putting some pressure on the other brands. Would I choose a 442 over a Premier any day of the week, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, right? Like to me, it's like I look at this football boot and I'm like, Nike Premier 3, no thank you. Legend 9 Pro has been historically like such a great option for the
these.
money.
Pick these.
These are the same price.
Yep.
I'm taking these every single time. Copa Mundial is a little bit more expensive.
Sure.
And look, if you really want a Copa, buy a Copa, but I'm going to argue that this is pretty well as nice for less money and certainly more modern, a lot lighter.
Yeah.
It's going to feel more like I think most people would want a football boot to feel.
Yeah.
And even if I'm comparing this to a top end Tiempo Legend, like, is it really worth $100 more?
I wouldn't say it's worth $100 more, but I'd be probably torn if I really had to choose between these and the Legends. But it's 100 euros cheaper. So and
100
I'm
euros cheaper.
Comparing this to the Morelli Neo 3 Pro is also a little bit of a tough one because those are really good boots for the money. But I wouldn't be against saying I'd rather wear these than the Pros, to be honest.
Yeah, but then you're right there. Then you want to factor in weight. If you're looking at a Morelli and Neo, these are lighter.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's a good performance and a genuine surprise, which was really nice. I mean, it sounds rough, and I'm sorry, New Balance, but I didn't expect this to come out of New Balance right now.
Me neither.
I
just like originally I saw the gold ones drop, and I'm like, oh, it's a pretty good looking football boot. I really like that colorway. I want to try them. Basically, just on the way that they look, and then when they showed up, and I pulled them out of the box, I'm like, whoa, this is much nicer than I was expecting.
This is actually
and then
not
got
bad,
them on the pitch, and I'm like, oh my god, they're even better than I thought they were going to be.
That's a bit
like, it's well done.
It's been a while since
I almost feel like they've been watching the Boot Nerds podcast and they've taken some advice from us.
You know what? If that's the case, we should claim our 10%. We'll take it. Thank you very much, New Balance. You're welcome for all of the advice. I wish that would be the case, but yeah, nah. Thoughts on the Tri-Aura pack, by the way? Just quick.
I am a sucker for mostly white football boots. I think they look great.
Yeah, they do.
I really, really like them.
I agree. It's a good looking pack. It's not it's not the second coming of Jesus, but I think it's a good looker, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Pastel colors instead of those like more popping, saturated colors we've seen on other white and colored executions. So cool.
Yeah, kind of reminded me a little bit of, was it Euro 2008 Nike pack with like the half and half?
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's kind of what the vibe I got off of it. It's not the same thing, obviously.
But you're right. Yeah, the colors. It could remind me of that. That's true. Good call. Right. We are actually sold out. Wow, we're sold out of the gold ones. Well,
really? Eh?
Ooh, Jay, you missed out. I was gonna go and grab myself a pair. Well, forget about that. And speaking of, we were speaking of the Morelias. I'm not sure there's a pro of this yet. Might be. Origami's dropped the Neo 3 Beta Japans. I'm gonna be wearing these a lot. I'll be honest. I'm gonna wear them a lot.
Really, you know what? They're really cool looking, but it's also
There's no
like
bud. There's no bud here.
it's like,
What?
is it not the most like stereotypical like, oh, origami, that's associated with Japan, let's put it on a football boot. I couldn't help but think like, wow, this is expected.
Yeah,
it looks great, but it's very expected.
You're right. And then it's a crane. I don't know, whatever it is. It's you know. But I think it looks amazing. You know,
they look cool.
Black Neos are just always a smash hit.
That is by far the best looking black Neo.
Oh, I agree. I'm gonna be rocking those a lot. Things are going in the right direction for leather boots these days. Anyways, Josh, let's just jump into a couple of questions here that we have had. We've got one. Do you have more comments, by the way, on the 442s?
No, I think we're good.
Okay,
I think we're good.
That's good. By the way, again, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section right down below. We'll take the best ones and answer them in the next episode of the Boot Nerds podcast. Alan Kiros. Tiempo Legend 9 and Mizuno Morelia Neo 3 Beta made in Japan.
Morelia Neo 3 Beta or Tiempo Legend 9. Man, if you want something thin, go for the Neos. If you want something more padded, I don't want to call it bulky, but if you want something more padded, definitely Tiempo.
I would put it like this, and I know it might seem like a little bit of recency bias and stuff because we just talked about it, but I would say if you're prepared to spend Tiempo money, get the betas. Yes, they're expensive. If you don't want to pay top dollar, 350 euros, however much it is, get the elites. They're also really good. And if you're like, okay, if I can't get the Tiempo, consider the 442s. I mean, maybe
I agree with that.
If you're ready to pay Japan money, maybe get an elite and a 442 if you want to diversify a bit.
You're right. And not to like harp on the 442 because we just talked about it for such a long time, but I really feel like the quality is so good on that football boot for what it costs that unless you want to pay the gigantic price gap and step it up to made in Japan Mizuno, it's arguably not worth it to spend more than what the 442 costs for a leather football boot.
But I'm are you getting paid by Mizuno, Jay? No, I'm not getting paid by Mizuno. And by the way, they're only 305 euros. I said 350 and I'm on something. But
if we're getting paid by Mizuno, then we're also being paid by New Balance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I'm waiting for all of these checks in the mail. I haven't received any of them yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of 10% checks coming that we have not seen. But, if money's not an issue and you just want the best of the best, I would always point to the Morelia. The Japan version. However, as that's not the case for most people, and most people are not as obsessed and maybe a little bit cracked in the head as you and I are in terms of just buying the most expensive boots because we really like the quality. So I mean, I don't want to be harsh on the Tiempo, but I'd say either go for the best or go 442.
Yeah, I think so. I just don't. The 442 is so good.
Yeah,
it doesn't justify the middle ground price anymore.
But that's the thing. If you don't feel like going top, then why go with the middle when the 442s are arguably as good or very, very close to?
Yeah. To quote Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last.
So I don't know who he is, but it's a.
You've never seen Talladega Nights? Will Ferrell? The NASCAR movie?
What is NASCAR?
No? Okay. Okay, never mind. Don't worry about it.
I'm kidding. I know what NASCAR is, but I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that film.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know what NASCAR is. You just drive and drive and drive for like 5.
You drive around in a circle. Yeah.
It's a very American thing, I feel.
It's an oval.
Yeah, we don't really do that in Europe, to be honest. But yeah, whatever floats your boat. Brian Peng. Hey, Boo Nerds. Not sure if I'm asking this too late, but if you had to choose between the Predator Instinct and the Hypervenom 3 Elite Low Cut, which would you go for? I only have the money to buy one of these retro boots and want to make the best choice. Love the podcast. Look forward to it every week. Thank you, Brian. Love people like you. What would you choose? Instincts or Hypervenom 3s? Lows. For me, it's a no-brainer.
Both are really, really good. But I'm a sucker for the Predator Instinct.
I knew you'd
like
say
them.
that. I knew.
I just
you'd say
like
that.
them.
Yeah, but yeah.
I think Phantom 3 has aged better.
I agree. Depends on what you like. I mean, the Instincts are bulkier and more powerful. They have more grip. For me, the Phantom 3 Elite is it's a very good all-round boot. I actually wore it the other day, last week, I think, and was genuinely surprised at how good they still are. I mean, I wouldn't mind rocking these in a match today. So I would go for those. Definitely go for those. William Borja, what are your go-to football boots during game day and why? What are your favorite retro shoes that you wish were back into production? So 2 questions in one comment. Go-to football boots during match day.
Okay, well, I'll just say I still try to stick to whatever I'm in the process of testing as long as I feel like they're broken in.
Right.
However, there has been a pair of boots that have been in my bag as go-tos.
Let me guess.
In the event of an emergency.
Let me guess.
For the last year.
Ultras.
No.
No?
No.
No?
No, I have a pair of blue Wave Cup Legends.
Ooh, classy.
That I just keep in the bag.
Classy. Yeah, they're not.
Love them.
They're awesome. My second guess would have been the Morelia DNA. Just forgot his name.
Morelia DNA could also be the same.
Very good boot. I usually keep 3 boots in my bag. I have the Morelia Neo 3 Beta Japans, obviously, whichever colorway is the latest. I have the Superfly 8 SG Anti-Clog for when we play on muddy pitches, and then I have the Speedflow 0.1s. That's my and it's I decide on the day what I want to wear.
Okay.
And why? Because they're my favorite boots out right now. Favorite retro shoes that you wish were back into production. It's very simple, and Addy, you need to do it very soon. Addy Powers, please bring them back, pretty please.
Addy Powers would be sweet.
Would be so good.
They would be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the one that's aged the best.
It's a boot I've worn not too long ago, and it's just still so very good. Obviously, you can feel the age here and there, and boots have deteriorated, or however you say that a little bit. It's an old boot, but it's so good. I wish we'd get that. A favorite retro shoe that holds up, I would say Vapor 11s. I mean, and they're 6 years old.
It's hardly retro. Yeah, it's hardly retro.
Yeah. But if I can go back, Addy Powers would be that's the one.
Addy Powers are a really solid pick.
are.
Okay, I have 3 picks, and they're random.
Okay.
They're not what you would expect, because we know what I would
I assume total
ask
92s.
for, but I'm not it's not any of those. I think I just had them in my hands the other day, and I'm just like, this is such a beautiful football. Like, I really want to wear these again. Nike Tiempo Legend 1. I love that. I still think that boot holds up really well.
But it's chunky.
I love that boot. Another Nike model would be, oh my gosh, I lost it. Okay, Puma Evo Power 1.
Okay.
Such a sick football boot.
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah.
What the heck was my other pick? Okay, I guess I just have 2 because I forgot my third, so it obviously wasn't that important.
Point me in the direction of the...
I'm trying to think. I want to say it was Nike, but I can't think of what it was now.
If you're not even sure about the brand, then it's going to be a long guessing
Yeah,
competition.
don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
If I remember, I'll come back.
All
to
right,
it.
you'll probably remember in like 5 or when we're done. You'll text me in 30 minutes from now and say, oh, now I remember. And it's a Puma boot. That's always how it works. Anyway, St. Leopold, J. Mike, you've tried the Mercurial Air Zoom Ultra. In your opinion, is the hefty price tag justified by the performance? And I'll ask Josh the same question. I would say, though, however, it's a nice, innovative pair of boots, but no, it's too expensive. No.
Yeah, it's too expensive in the sense that it's nothing. It's too expensive in the sense that we know we're going to get it in non-limited quantities moving forward, and they're probably not going to be $350.
I sense there's a but coming here, and that's surprising.
No, I don't know. There's no but.
Okay,
I just I don't. If you could get them at retail and you could justify the price, sure. But I don't think going in the resale market and paying, I don't know, I'm sure somebody's trying to sell a pair for like $800.
Yeah.
No, they're not worth that.
Yeah. That's stupid. But that's always like limited edition Nike at launch. The resale is just stupid. Don't buy a resale there, guys. Don't do it. Francesco Evangelista. I have just a silly question for Josh. Why do you have most of your Mercurials in SG? It's a good question.
Oh, my older ones.
Yeah.
He's referring to my older ones.
Yeah, I think so.
That is simply down to
Availability.
what I was able to find at the time I was looking that was reasonable.
Yeah. It's funny how
SG boots just tend to be less desirable than the firm ground ones.
Yeah.
And like when I really wanted a pair of Vapor 3s to have in my collection, I was like, oh, you know what? $200 looks a lot more reasonable than $600.
Yeah.
And that's what it came down to.
Absolutely. I feel you. I was going to say exactly that. Brandon Lobos, what was the one boot in your collection that was the hardest to get your hands on? And the follow-up question, which is the one boot you really want but don't have? I think we've answered the last question like a million times on the podcast. And I think I speak for both of us when I say Mercurial SL, full carbon.
Yeah, we both love some carbon SLs.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
That'd be awesome, yeah. But I've given up. I mean, the prices these days are they're just obscene. So it is what it is. But which boot was the hardest to come by out of your entire collection? Good question.
I don't know that. What does hardest to come by imply? Does that mean finding them for a reasonable price? Or does that mean just impossible to find? Because I don't think I've ever gone searching for a football boot and just said, wow, you know what? There's nothing out there. I can't find them. And granted, I haven't really been hunting for older football boots in a number of years. So I'm sure it might be a little bit more difficult now than it once was. But I don't know that there's anything that I've been unable to get a hold of for the right price.
Okay. Look at Mr. Big Man Bargain.
Okay, but you know what? No, I'll take that back. But a very elusive pair that I would really also like to have, and I don't know if they ever actually dropped to the public. It was only a pro issue thing. Is the Vapor 4 SL in the Euro colorway?
Yeah, they never dropped the thing. That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Those are cool.
Those are a myth these days. Absolutely,
those are
impossible
sweet
to get your hands on.
Yeah.
I would say boots that I've really had to work to get was my pair of Chempo Legend 4 Elites. They took a while to locate in my size. Cost an arm and a leg as well. Addy Powers in general in my size in good condition at fair prices. I'm just stocking up whenever I see them. Addy Pure 2 SLs. 11 Pro 2 SLs, obviously.
Actually, you know what? I have two more to add to my list.
Okay.
Addy Pure 1s are very difficult to find.
Yes, they are.
I'd really like a pair of those because I just think it's one of the best looking Addy boots ever. Also, the second Ronaldinho boot.
Oh yeah, impossible to find.
They've gone missing.
Yeah, absolutely, myth at this point. Completely extinct. I think though the boot that was hardest to get, in the sense that it was the one where I had to bite the bullet the most and just pay resale, was the Rare Golds. I really wanted them. I missed out because I was doing a shoot for like Danish television on the day they dropped. I like major rookie mistake, and I missed out, and I was so bummed. So I just decided to, one of my good friends, Joma, he knew some people who had him, but they weren't willing to cut me a sweet deal. So I just had to
part with them.
Yeah. So I just had to.
Those are limited though. That was 333 pairs?
333, yeah.
Yeah, I have them. I don't remember if I got them for retail or not. I want to say that I did.
Yeah, you probably did. You lucky bastard.
But I can't remember.
Yeah, so that was that was probably the boot that like took the most like convincing of self to actually go and press the buy button. But hey, it's worth it now. I'm glad I did, but it's still like. I don't like to spend resale on. I like to spend retail. I don't like to spend resale on old football boots. I just don't. I don't like it. Or
me neither.
Boots in general. So yeah, there we go. That was those were all the questions. I think we had. Oh, sorry. Sash asks, where is the place to buy football boots, past football boots, retro boots? And I would say, there are lots of resellers, lots of which are actually, fairly priced. I would say they're not all. Ripping you off. BW Boots, great guy, great selection. Classic football shirts, Dakota UK, also a great place to go to find some old gems here and there. And then of course eBay. You can, and here's my eBay trick, and you can use it, and it's free. I won't take 10%, but it is to find the style number on the boot instead of just typing in Vapor 3. Then you can type Vapor III or Vapor 3 and find the style number, right? Nike style number, and then size in both Europe, UK, and US sizes. Because then you're widening the scope. And I usually, if it's for Adi, I go to the German Adi website. Obviously Nike, I go to UK or US especially. So it's just about, looking off the beaten path, really, for me on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
eBay has always been the go-to for me.
Yeah. But I mean, and there's tons of resellers out there. I just feel that oftentimes they are slightly ripping you off.
It is resale. The resale market in general is very much trending at the moment. And I think there's a lot of people trying to capitalize on that as far as what they're asking.
Yeah, and especially with young guys who maybe weren't around back when the boots were released, like we were, because we're getting old. They don't know the true value, or should we say lack of value, of those boots.
Yeah,
so it might be that those boots, which aren't actually worth that much, they seem really cool to these young guys who then just buy into the hype and go and buy and overpay for them. And I'm not.
And isn't that funny, eh? Like I see it's become a very popular thing now to wear older football boots, and some of the ones I see people getting really excited about, I'm just like,
what?
When those were out, nobody cared.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted those.
I see.
Why are they worth $400 now? Apparently,
exactly. I saw a pair the other day of like a third generation Adi Zeros. The one that first introduced the My Coach in this blue and red colorway. It's completely random. And I think it was $500. Buy now on eBay, and I was like, what the is this? No one. They didn't sell badly, but they sold back in there. No,
I know.
Yeah, so go to eBay and just bring your best weapon when you buy retro boots, and that is common sense. Common sense is the way to go. It's a good thing. You should try it, Tubbs. It's worked for me. And I know it's not a thing I like to do. Just no. Anyways, that was getting out of hand. That was Boot Nerds podcast episode number 137. You're cracking up because I'm going off on a tangent. Save me, man.
Look, you just keep going.
If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section right down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. You also go look at Josh's channel and what I'm doing over at Junior Sport. Go subscribe there. And of course, come back for episode 138. It's going to be great. Man United will still be losing and we still suck. So yeah, and it'll be either sunny or snowy in Canada. So yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm J Mike. And
Tune in next week to find out.
Exactly. I'm J Mike. I approve this message. See you later. What a train wreck of an outro, man. Oh, wow.